Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Heart to Heart with Hads. I'm trying to adjust my mic right now, so it's probably sounding a little odd. I don't know if I'm close enough. Anyways, let's get into the episode today. I had someone send me some things they wanted me to cover and on the podcast, and so I'm just gonna kind of start filtering through what people want to hear because I feel like that is the most beneficial. So today I kind of wanted to cover on training splits, how to make a training split, rest days, all of that good stuff. So I think the first part is recognizing what kind of goals do you have for yourself? So a lot of the times people are like, oh, I just want to lose body fat and I just want to gain muscle. Okay, well, be more specific. Like, what specific parts of your body are you looking to gain muscle? Now, a lot of the times when people first come to you, it's like, okay, everywhere. Like, you're under muscled literally everywhere. And so that's where we go into, more of a training split that focuses on full body muscle. So typically for females, honestly, I recommend no more than a 4 day training split. I don't like 5 days, especially if you're someone that knows how to train with proper intensity. Not everyone, when they're starting out, knows exactly how to train with proper intensity, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole. So we can talk about that. If you're training and you're just going through the motions, you're not feeling that mind to muscle connection within all of the movements that you're trying to do. Say you're doing shoulder press and you're completely just using your neck, like your lower back's completely arched. You're not really focusing on the muscle that's being used, then that's an indicator that your intensity, your form may be off. You're not really focusing on the muscles that are supposed to be used. And another thing with that is if you're not actually progressively overloading in the gym, continuously getting stronger each and every time that you go into the gym, whether that's it doesn't always have to be increasing your weight or your reps. Um, it can just be improving your form, slowing down the tempo. Those are things that are good indicatives, good indicators that you are progressing. And so these are things that are really important when it comes down to, your overall training intensity, your form, your execution, all of that. But then also too, just like your rate, um, like your rate of perceived, I don't know, RPE, yeah, rate of perceived exertion. So how much you think you're actually, like your actual output in the set itself and your training itself. And so a lot of the times whenever say you do get a training program, it'll say either RIR, so this means reps in reserve. So say like you're doing a squat and it says RIR 8. So you want to make sure that you're essentially giving 80%, and say that means you have probably two more reps left in the tank. Same for RPE 10. Okay, that didn't make sense. No. Reps in reserve. So say 2 RIR. That means you would be getting that's okay, I'm totally not making sense. I just said 8 RIR. So 8 RPE, say 8 RPE, so rate of perceived exertion. That means you would have two, like you're failing, and then you would still have two reps left in the tank essentially. So you're not going completely till failure, like 10 RPE. And then when you're talking RIR, reps in reserve, that would mean you have two reps in reserve. So it's kind of like inverse of it. You can really go either way with that. Now, I don't think you should be doing reps in reserve or RIR um 0 or RPE 10 on every single lift. That's just not sustainable, and you're not going to be able to recover from that. Take it from me. Training till failure on every single set just usually doesn't work for some people. For most people, especially us females who don't have the genetic anomalies. We're not genetic anomaly like freaks as males are, and we don't have those hormones to properly recover unless you are someone who is advanced, like on hormone replacement or something of that sort, which most of you that are listening are probably not. All of you probably are not. I'm not, but I just wanted to put that out there, preface that because I do dabble in bodybuilding, I don't dabble. That was such a weird word. I am do competitive bodybuilding, but I've never taken um like Anavar performance enhancing things like that. So with that being said, I have no experience on that, but for like I was saying, most females cannot afford to train like that. Literally, no one probably can. But most people, most females especially, don't really know how to train till that full failure. Um, and it takes a long time to actually learn that. At first, I didn't know how to train like that, and now I do, and I don't get to do that because I push myself way too hard. Another thing too that I really love about the style of training that I do is I don't do like three sets of 15 for everything. I do a lot of top set, back off set, so that way I can progressively overload better. I think it's hard to whenever you're doing, say you're doing um, shoulder press and you're doing three sets of 15. Well, you're going to be tired by that third set if you're doing, all heavyweight, all going till failure. So that's kind of why I do love the top set, back off set style of training. Obviously, every person is different. Not everybody needs to do that. It kind of just depends on you, like how many days you're in the gym, yada, yada, yada. Now, as far as coming up with a training split, personally, like I was saying, I do like a 4-day training split for females, especially 3 or 4. I don't like more than that. Like I said, especially someone who knows how to properly train. As far as like being consistent, and a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people struggle with like, okay, I don't think I'll be able to stay consistent if I don't go every single day. And that's kind of when you have to take a step back and realize like your muscle doesn't grow inside the gym. Yes, it does. You have to apply that pressure and put strain on it, but you recover outside of the gym. And if you don't have proper recovery, please take it from me, if you don't have proper recovery, you will feel like absolute dog shiz, and your muscles won't grow. And it's like, oh, but I want to go and just walk. Okay, go and walk. You can still size up the scene, you can still be there, and you won't get off, essentially off track. What I like to do: a full lower day, a full upper day, a rest day. Then I'll do like posterior day, take another rest day. So essentially, I go Monday, Tuesday, rest Wednesday, train Thursday, rest Friday, train Saturday, rest Sunday. So I only have 2 back-to-back days. All the other days I have a rest day in between. And I feel like this really works for me and my style of training, my recovery, how well I'm able to recover. And for whatever reason, it's saying it's trying to connect, reconnect, and why just work. Uther is experiencing some connection issues, but recording is still in progress. Okay, just let me make sure that I'm still on my freaking hotspot, because yeah, I'm still on it. I'm not connected to the Wi-Fi. Everything is fine. Everything is good. So why is it saying that? Anyways, we'll get back to it. I was saying for the 4-day split, and this really, I kind of do have a glute emphasis because obviously that's a big focus. Okay, I'm reconnected. That's a big focus for me, is growing my glutes and my hamstring tie-ins. Like that's important for, the bikini division that I am in. So that's what I strive to do. Now, not everyone's goals are that. So it's really just going to be person dependent on what your goals are, like what areas you're trying to grow. For me, it's shoulders and glutes, and hamstrings. So I prioritize a lot of hinging movements. I know my first day I do, I don't even know because I've taken 2 weeks off of training. See, that's what I'm saying. Rest is so much more important, especially if you're someone that deals with, issues not recovering well. Rest is a lot more important. What was I saying? Oh my gosh. It's towards the end of the day. I hate that I do these towards the end of the day because then my brain gets all freaking scrambled. And when I talk, I have my face like up on the screen so I can. I'm literally watching myself right now talking, and so that kind of intimidates me. Okay, we are going back to my training. My first day I do some sort of like a squat and a hinge and a thrust, and I hit all parts of my legs that day, so quad, glutes, hamstrings, and then the next day to a full upper day. Geez, I cannot talk. And then on the upper day, I do a mix of back and shoulders and a little bit of arms. I don't do a lot of arms just because like that's not important to me. That's where it goes back to like focusing on what you want to really prioritize and grow. Doing a lot of the compound movements, squat, lunges, pressing, all of these are going to just stacking on these basics forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It's going to really get you the growth that you desire. So, highly recommend doing that. As far as coming up with your own split, really should just do whatever is sustainable and what works for you. For a lot of people, it's 3 days. For a lot of people, it's four. And I don't like to go anywhere over that, just giving our body enough time to recoup and relax and rejuvenate. As far as what was I going to say? Like exercises, and then like I was saying, my Thursday lift is like posterior chain. So posterior meaning the back half of your body. So I do back and I do hamstrings and glutes that day. And then on Saturday, more like a anterior, so shoulders, quads, so like front side. And then I try and sprinkle in abs in there twice a week. But as far as, sticking with it, if you feel like I said, if you feel like you're struggling with, I'm getting a call, so we're going to have to pause. Okay, we are back. I am full of distractions today and totally apologize, but I had to take that phone call. Anyways, going back to the training, another question that I got was, what best tips to grow your glutes? And I just want to preface that my butt is like primarily fat. I There's muscle to it, but there's not a lot of muscle to it. And I've really, really worked on doing this, and it's taken me a while to be able to actually put on some tissue. So just know that takes time and that takes food as well. A lot of the times people get into the gym and they think they want to lose body fat and gain muscle at the same time. While you can do that, it's better to do it more in like a phase type of thing. Just get in there and train. Obviously, you're going to build muscle if you're training, unless you're severely under eating. And just make sure you're, prioritizing your gains by eating enough carbs, protein and carbs. You need carbs to fuel the glycogen stores and actually put on the tissue. Um, so make sure that you're doing that. And that goes back to like the glute growth thing too, is make sure that you're, training your glutes, um, squatting, thrusting, lunging, hinging, getting in those sorts of movements so that you are able to grow your glutes and hitting them at least twice a week. Um, I know I do a squat, a lunge, and a hinge probably all 3 days that I do train those that body part, but also just stay consistent with it. The more that you get stronger with it, and I don't think people realize, unless you're just a genetic freak, this takes years. Like I've been with my coach for almost 3 years now, and I feel like I'm just now starting to get that development in my lower and upper glutes. And I would say it took me probably a year to, fully learn how to train correctly. So keep that in mind as you are progressing along in your fitness journey and real in discovering, what works best for you. So it just takes time and it just takes consistency. So just stick with it. Things are not going to click all at once. Um, just enjoy the process. I think that's the most fun and rewarding part of it. I think is when I was first starting, especially, you see so much stuff on Instagram, you compare, da da da. Don't get me down in that rabbit hole, but your day one is probably someone's day 800. Um, so don't compare it, You're on your own path and they were once exactly where you were. They literally were. Even if it was a different time frame than you, it doesn't matter. You're on your own time frame journey. And I thought someone was calling me again, but it was an airplane. Um, But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the training and the topic. It's really hard to kind of carry out an episode when it's just me. Let me see what else I have to say on what kind of questions I got asked that would maybe tie into that. Um, okay, I got a question on high impact workouts. So, if this means like hit, I'm not a fan of hit for um, obviously a form of building muscle. Hit is cardiovascular, and hit can be a tool that can be used for fat loss, but alongside strength training is what I would say. And hit, as in probably not longer than 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of high intensity interval training. So you could do this like on the bike. I have done, bike rounds whenever I was trying to lose body fat. I would do a mix of hit and LISS. And so LISS is more lower intensity steady state cardio, and this I'll just do on the treadmill, keeping my heart rate under 130 beats per minute. Incline walking, really chill, steady. You'll break a good sweat, but um, other than that, that's kind of my take on that. As far as like, I don't know what you mean by high impact. I would say high impact, as in, I mean, just a lot of compound type movements like deadlifts and things like that. Maybe that's what you're meaning. I do utilize that in all of my training. I do a form of deadlift. I do Romanian deadlift, stiff leg deadlift, just to help kind of build those glutes and hamstrings up. Squatting, like I said, I do squatting. So high impact. Let me just look it up. What does high impact workouts mean? Just so that I can kind of high. Let's see, high impact workout. Oh, that involve forceful landing or jumping, putting significant stress on joints and bones. It says, I don't know. High impact workout. It says it could be burpee, jump rope, lunge, mountain climbers, squat jump. So kind of like high intensity training, I guess you could say. It says running and jumping, activities that cause greater impact on your joints and your feet. So I guess running and CrossFit are good examples that it says what are my thoughts on that? As far as, I guess I should know this terminology. Why don't I know it? It's totally fine. I'm just gonna recognize my weaknesses right here, which is now I know. So CrossFit, I feel like it's a good foundational of like, you do strength training, but it's also like plyometric as well, and also a lot of like stability. I just think it's way too much, especially on your spine, your joints, all of it. I mean, if you like it, you do you, but I just don't think it's something that's going to be sustainable. And if your goal is to put on muscle, I don't think that's it for you. But if you just want to get in some exercise, whatever, go for it. You like that style of training, do it. Just, it's not for me, and I don't think it's necessarily conducive to putting on muscle, I guess you could say. Like, that's not the best form to do so. Now, as far as running, if you love to run, you do so. But just know that if you're wanting to keep and maintain and build muscle, you're going to have to eat enough food to support and fuel both running and training. But know too that like you're going to atrophy a little bit if you are running alongside training. So, especially if you're running a lot. Now, I'm not like, if you run um a little like long distances, that's when you'd be more susceptible to it. But if you're running, 2-3 miles a day, you're still strength training, like you'll be fine as long as you're eating enough and still recovering properly. So that's my I guess you could say input on those high impact exercises. But yeah, I do think cardio is good. We should all definitely utilize it, but there's just different ways of going about doing it. So, yeah, I wanted to make this episode pretty short and sweet and just kind of answer those couple of questions and just give some insight on more of the training. And yeah, if you guys ever have any questions, ever need coaching and diving more deep into these things, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I love doing these more informational Q&A style of podcast episodes. I try to make them short because a lot of people don't want to listen for so long, especially if it's just one person talking. So, yeah, leave a review, share it with someone, and keep being a badass. All right. See you guys. Have a fantastic day and weekend whenever you're listening. All right. Bye.